Welcome to City Week, ladies and gentlemen. Today, my guest will be on from the Troup County Sheriff Department, so you want to make sure that you stay tuned for those interviews coming up in just a moment.
I'm Sergeant Stuart Smith of the Troup County Sheriff's Office, and we're asking for the public's help in locating a missing elderly person. His name is Leroy Hubbard. He's an 87-year-old black male and was last seen in his residence at 871 Shakerag Road on May 21st around 10:30 p.m. It's believed that sometime between that time and 5:30 a.m. on Friday morning, Mr. Hubbard left his home walking and may have been wearing a blue and red long-sleeve shirt, blue jeans, brown boots, and maybe wearing a beige hat. He also has a gray beard. Anyone with information on Mr. Hubbard's whereabouts is asked to call the Troup County Sheriff's Office at 883-1616 or Troup County 911 at 706-883-1700. Thank you.
Welcome to City Week, ladies and gentlemen. Today I'm sitting down with the Sheriff of Troup County, Sheriff James Woodruff, and also the Public Information Officer, Stuart Smith. Gentlemen, welcome to the show.
Good morning.
Well, it's a pleasure to sit down with both of you all, and Sheriff, I must say, a couple of weeks I was out at the lake and you were not there with me.
I know, I missed that. And
you did.
I really hate that I missed the lake. I love to come out there and be part of that program.
We love to have you out there as a guest, but I'm glad to have you here today in the studio along with Stuart. And we want to talk about some things that have been going on with the Sheriff Department. This is your third year as Sheriff of Troup County. Talk a little bit about your experiences thus far.
Time is flying.
It is.
It doesn't seem like any time since I ran for office, and some of the things I ran on, Alton, is our young people and focusing on our young people and trying to get them to stay away from drugs, alcohol, and gang activities. And I think we've done a good job. You know, one thing I ran on was that I wanted to get the junior deputy program back in the third grade. We've done that.
Okay.
We're trying to get our Explorer program up and running. That was very successful years ago. Stuart Smith is a product of that. He was one of our Explorers years ago, and I believe we got to reach out to our young people. And I ran on that, and I just didn't run on that to get elected, but I've held my promise, and we've really reached out to these young people. And there's more work to do, but we're glad how far we've come.
Absolutely. You know, I wholeheartedly agree with you. Unless we reach the young folks and kind of change the mindset of them or show them options and alternatives of things that they can get involved in, especially during the summer months, where they have a lot of idle time on their hands. So we're very thankful for what you have done and what you're doing for our community. Still, let me ask you, as an explorer, back in your younger days, still young now, I think you've robbed in there. Talk a little bit about your experience as being an explorer.
It was, I did it for 5 years, and I was one of the ones that came in the initial formation of the group. And I stayed with it for 5 years, and I learned a lot of experience in law enforcement, and it helped me become the person I am today.
Okay. You think it had any influence on the career path that you chose?
Probably more than likely, yes, sir.
Absolutely. You know, and I know back in the days when I was a police officer some years ago, we had the team CPA as well. And I see some of the kids nowadays, and they remember me, and I, you know, of course, I still kind of remember facing, always remember names, say, hey, I remember when I was in your team CPA class. So, you know, and that's where the reward comes in at, when the kids remember you and talk about the things that they remember you doing with them and for them. Let's talk a little bit about, I know that everybody's going to social media to kind of help get the words out about various things that are happening in their area. Talk about how you all are using social media with things going on with the Sheriff Department there. Sheriff, if you don't mind.
Well, one thing, I think everybody looks at Facebook every day. And one thing that we try to do is keep our Facebook up to date. That's one of Stuart's tasks, and try to get information out there to the public on things that we're working on, upcoming events, our car show. We put pictures on there from Sheriff for a Day, different things, just to keep the media informed on what's going on. But also to take it a step further, there's something called Code Red. 911 offers that. And if people will call 911 and sign up for it, that's a free service. And if there's something going on in your neighborhood and we do a reverse 911 call, then you get that alert, whether you're at work, whether you're on vacation, whatever, you get that information. Let me just give you a quick example of that. There was several months ago, we had a shooting over in Civil Acres on a Friday night. Saturday morning, I'm out doing some stuff, and I see some patrol cars headed back towards Civil Acres. I go over there. The shooter had returned to the area. Well, when I get over there on Saturday morning, there's kids riding skateboards, there's kids on bicycles, people are out and about. I had 911 do a reverse 911 call through Code Red and notify that entire neighborhood that, look, this shooter's back in the area. We can do that in just a few minutes, where if we have to go door to door
Right.
and say, get back in the house, it takes a long time. So we're asking citizens to sign up for that free service, be notified. Also Nixle.
Okay.
Stewart's in charge of that. But this is just a fast way to get information out to our citizens, and it's free.
Okay. And you say for them to sign up, how they go about signing up, Sheriff?
With the Code Red, you call 911, their non-emergency number.
Okay.
And you tell them you want to sign up for Code Red, and through Nixle, you actually log into the Nixle page. I think it's Nixle, and you go on there and the person does it themselves, and you put what contact number you want to use and your address, and then it just ties you in right then. It's very quick.
All right. Go ahead and give them that non-emergency number if you don't mind, Stuart.
706-883-1700.
Okay, all right. So just call the non-emergency number and follow the instructions there.
Yes, sir.
Very
Exactly.
good. Sheriff, in your conversation just a moment ago, you were mentioning Sheriff for a Day. Can I become Sheriff for a Day?
You can't. You're not in third grade.
I'm not a third grade. Okay, God. Talk about Sheriff for a Day, though, if you don't mind.
Sheriff for a Day is where one child is chosen from each school after they have completed the junior deputy program.
Okay.
And what happens is we let the school pick a representative to represent their school. We go and pick that student up in the mornings. I go pick up a couple, Stuart picks up a couple, our chief deputy, different deputies help us out. We pick them up when they first get to school, bring them down to the sheriff's office. We have a shirt for them, we have a badge for them, and they literally get to be Sheriff for a Day and represent their school. We go to the courthouse, we have K-9 demonstrations, they take a jail tour. They have people come and talk to them about patrol.
Okay.
They see the deputy, a day in the life of a deputy.
Okay.
And they get to hang out with me all day and hang out with Stuart. And it's just a way of saying back to those people, thank you for being a role model for your school. And let that student understand that we're not there just to put people in jail, but we really want to be their friend.
Absolutely.
That's the reason for the junior deputy program, being safe at school, being safe at home,
Okay.
bicycle safety, and saying no to drugs and bullying. Stuart does a tremendous job teaching that. And we want to get out there and reach these young people before they get into trouble and warn them and say, you can go down the right path and you can be successful.
Absolutely. How many kids can you all accommodate? I understand you get one from each school.
Right. We do, I go to each of the schools, the elementary schools, and there were 12. And I think the most I had in each class was probably 120, 130.
Whoa.
It depends whatever the numbers are at each elementary school.
Okay.
And then at the end of the year, of course, I talk about it all year when I'm with the kids, that one will be chosen from the school. And the teachers and staff select them. I don't have any input in it. The
Okay.
teachers and staff select them, and then we pick them up, and it's just one from each school to represent each school.
That's right. Okay. All right. Well, very good. You know, and again, I think we cannot put enough time and effort into our young folks.
Absolutely.
You know, whether it's through the junior deputy, sheriff for a day, and because I think I always say kids are like sponges.
Right.
They are.
They're going to soak up everything that they see.
Yes.
And whether it's positive
or bad.
that's it, positive or negative.
Right.
And if we can put more positive things in those kids
Yes.
at a young age, hopefully those are going to be the positive things that come out later on in life.
And let me say, Alton, it's hard for these schools to pick one kid
I'm sure.
to represent them.
I am sure.
I never want to get into picking that one child myself, but it's a hard job because we have a lot of good kids in these schools that do a good job every day of following instructions and listening to their teachers and being respectful, and will grow up to be very good citizens.
Absolutely. So I'm going to assume that those are some of the criteria that you all look for in the sheriff for a day.
And I tell them going in, I said, the teachers are going to pick you, and I tell them you have good grades, good attendance, and act good while I'm here doing the program. So
Absolutely. You know, and it's so important, again, that, you know, the teachers who do a wonderful job, but we have the support of the sheriff and the deputies and all the other agencies in our community to make sure that our young folks get a good start, a good foundation in which to build from. And I know that another thing that you all do that's very good for the citizens at large is the citizen firearms class. Kind of shifting gears a little bit. Talk a little bit about that for us, Stuart.
we started that September of 2013. And a lot of people were calling us and the sheriff wanting to know, gun laws, how to properly use a gun. And we modeled it after a program in Jackson County. Our Chief Deputy John Whitney went and observed their program.
Okay.
And we do it on a Saturday morning, usually every couple months until the winter time when it gets too cold to be out there. And we bring the participants in for about an hour instruction in the classroom and then take them out on our shooting range. And they have a personal coach We have one range master, and we just go through just general firearm safety with them.
Okay, very good. And you know, it's so important, and because I know most everybody perhaps feel like they have to have a firearm in the home, and we're going to talk a little bit about firearm safety in the home too, Sheriff, if you don't mind. Feel like they have to have a firearm in the home just for those safety purposes, but also not just to have it there. It's important that they know how to use it properly.
Absolutely.
Talk about some of the things that y'all don't.
And that's the one reason for this class. I've had numerous ladies tell me, my husband bought me a pistol, I've never shot it. And I've actually had some ladies say, if somebody tried to break in, I would be so afraid of that gun, I wouldn't pick it up because I don't know how to safely use it. So the reason for this class, what we're not doing is certifying people as, certified firearms things. But what we're trying to do is just get them familiar with the gun, how to hold it, how to do the trigger squeeze, know that slide is going to come back if it's a semi-automatic weapon. Be ready for that sound, because that scares a lot of people. Know what that recoil feels like. And get people out there and get them familiar with it. What we ask our participants to do is, if you have a pistol, bring your ammunition, because that's going to be the gun at home that you're going to be shooting.
That's right.
If you don't have a gun and you're wondering, well, do I want a revolver? Do I want a semi-automatic? Come to the class. We'll have one of each. We'll let you shoot it. That way you'll know what a revolver feels like. You'll know what a semi-automatic feels like, and you'll have a better understanding of what you want to purchase for yourself. And it's free. And like Stuart says, we start out teaching gun safety in the home. And we start out how to properly handle a gun. And we also tell them, where can you have a gun without having a firearms license? In your home, in your vehicle, and in your business. But if you have a firearms license, there are still some places you can't carry that firearm.
Absolutely.
A government building that has armed security, anywhere that has metal detectors up. So just because you have a firearms license doesn't guarantee that you can carry it anywhere. You can carry it in a restaurant, but if that restaurant says you cannot have it in there, even though the law says you can, you either have to go put your gun up or you have to leave their establishment.
Absolutely.
So we go over some things like that and try to answer some questions on how much does it cost to get a firearms permit? Where do you go to get it? How long does it take? And so we try to answer those questions for people as well.
And it's very good information, because a lot of times we don't, as citizens, we shouldn't assume that people know that. You all, and those in law enforcement, we kind of know those things automatically, but we can't assume that everybody knows those things. Very good dialogue, conversation. I tell you what I'm going to do, gentlemen, at this point. I'm going to take a short commercial break. I'm going to come back. I'm going to talk a little bit about when that class is offered, because it's free. I'm going to give out the dates and how people can get in touch with you all to get registered for those classes, okay?
Absolutely.
All right. Ladies and gentlemen, stay tuned. Back for more City Week in just a moment.
I'm Sergeant Stuart Smith with the Troup County Sheriff's Office, and we're asking for the public's help in locating a missing elderly person. His name is Leroy Hubbard. He's an 87-year-old black male and was last seen in his residence at 871 Shake-Rag Road on May 21st around 10:30 p.m. It's believed that sometime between that time and 5:30 a.m. on Friday morning, Mr. Hubbard left his home walking. He may have been wearing a blue and red long-sleeve shirt, blue jeans, brown boots, and maybe wearing a beige hat. He also has a gray beard. Anyone with information on Mr. Hubbard's whereabouts is asked to call the Troup County Sheriff's Office at 883-1616 or Troup County 911 at 706-883-1700. Thank you.
Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen. Today I'm sitting down with Sheriff James Woodruff and also Public Information Officer Stuart Smith. And we left off a moment ago, gentlemen, talking about firearm and firearm safety. And I know that you all have a class coming up. Sheriff, if you don't mind, tell us when that next class is coming up.
Next class is going to be June 13th, and it's going to be at our training facility. And a lot of people get confused about where is that training facility at.
Okay.
And if you know where the fire department is on Hamilton Road, as soon as you go past the fire department, there's a house up on the hill, and that's the fire department's training facility, and there's a big parking lot, and that parking lot is right across the street from the prison, and right next door to the old Georgia State Patrol post, and that's where we tell our participants to come and park, and then we take them up on top of the hill to our training facility and our firearms range.
Okay, well, very good. And it's so important, like, we left off talking about how to be able to handle a gun. And it's important, like you say, the revolver versus, the semi-automatic, things of that nature. People can come. It's free.
Free.
What did it call to sign up if they want to be a participant, Stuart?
They call me at the sheriff's office
Okay.
at 706-883-1616. And we schedule these classes about every couple of months, and we run them until about September or October. And at that point, the weather is really unpredictable. And we max it out at 20 participants,
Okay.
just because if we get our numbers too large, safety becomes a factor.
Right.
And then doing it every couple of months, we get volunteers that work for us to give up a Saturday to come do it. And so
Okay.
we don't do it, every Saturday, because that just wears out our volunteers a lot.
Absolutely.
And so it's been very successful. We ran probably over 100 people through it so far.
Very good. So,
And one thing I want to add is these volunteers from the sheriff's office, if you come to this class, you have a coach standing behind you. There's just one person out there and we line everybody up. We shoot about 5 or 6 at a time, and each person has their very own coach standing behind them, watching how they're gripping the gun, watching how they're shooting, and just kind of coaching them through and giving them some pointers to make them a better shot.
Very good.
And so we are so fortunate to have deputies and investigators and jailers give up their Saturday mornings once every other month to come out there and spend with our citizens, just to make them feel secure and make them confident when they pick up that gun, because a person that's afraid of a gun is not going to pick it up.
That's right.
They're not going to protect themselves. And I'm telling you, in the day in which we live, I encourage people to have weapons for safety.
That's right. And and again, having that familiarity with it makes sure, so that they don't use it on themselves or someone else
Accidentally
takes
shoot
it.
themselves.
That's right, absolutely. All right, let's talk a little bit about some fundraising events that you guys had going on not long ago. The annual car show. I saw it in the paper. I think it was a big success this year. Talk a little bit about both of you, either one of you.
Well, let me just start off by thanking Charles Nixon.
Okay.
He's our major over operations, and every year this is his event. He puts it together. He contacts the car people. He gets the door prizes. I mean, he does everything, Alton, for this event, and
Okay.
he makes it bigger and better every year.
Great.
Last year we raised over a record over $9,000. This year over $12,000.
Oh my.
We had over 160 people show up with their cars or trucks or whatever, Jeeps, and brought out to Pine Road Park. And we've got a beautiful facility out there up on the hill overlooking the water. It could not be any prettier. Had great weather, lots of
Very good.
participation. Thanks to our businesses that give us door prizes to give to people out there. It's just a joint effort between the citizens, businesses, our car enthusiasts, the media that
Right.
helps get the word out for us.
Several vendors too this year around.
Several vendors come out and sell their products out there, and we want to thank them for doing that. And I'll tell you, if it keeps getting bigger, which is a good thing,
Absolutely.
we're not going to be able to stay at the top of the hill because we just about used all of our space up there. So we're going to have to move down to the bottom or split it up or something, but that's a good problem to have. And
Absolutely.
those funds that we raise go to Pineland,
Very good
Georgia
place.
Sheriff Youth Home, and a very worthwhile cause. And I'll tell you and our viewers that if they've never been to Pineland, it's a tremendous place. They need to go out there. Call me. I'll go out there with you, show you around, because this is a place that takes kids that are displaced from their homes because of no fault of their own.
That's right.
And if you just come out there and see where their money goes, I think you would be pleasantly surprised at what we offer right here in Troup County.
Absolutely. Of course, I've been there a number of times, and I must echo the sentiments that you just mentioned. It is a great location, great place, and I have personal ties to that location
Yes.
myself.
Yes.
Absolutely. All right, let's move into the jail a little bit. Well, before I do that, let me talk a little. I think we need to talk about the Youth Academy, because we definitely want to continue to make sure that our youth have something to do. And this is the event that's coming up over the summer.
The second week in July, it's 9 and 10-year-olds.
Okay.
And the third week in July, it's 11 and 12-year-olds. It's one of the summer programs that the Parks and Rec offer. We partner up with them, and registration is at the Parks and Rec. I think it's a $40 registration.
Okay.
And, we run 20 or 25 kids, and they come in Monday. And, of course, they don't spend the night with us. They come in at 9 and leave around 4.
Don't want to overnight
That's
stay,
right. And they stay with us Monday through Thursday are full days, and Friday's a half a day.
Okay.
And they spend time with us, with the sheriff, and they get shirts at the end of the day. They get lunch every day. And we do activities in the morning. They learn about the sheriff's office, the operations. In the afternoon are field trips, either to Red Skating Rink or the Water Whiz or the theater or something like that. We have a really good time with them.
Very good. And there's, again, something that's for the young folks to do during the summer months. A lot of times when they don't have, when they feel like they don't have things to do.
Right.
But if they get involved, there's plenty for them to do, right?
And let me say, Alton, every year I have parents call me and say, when is registration? And registration is going on right now at Parks and Rec. And because of limited space, we take, I think it's 20.
20 or 25.
And that fills up so incredibly fast because we have kids that want to come back year after year because they have so much fun.
Absolutely.
And we're doing something right. If the kids want to keep coming back,
that's right.
Then obviously we're doing something right. Years ago, when I had Stuart's job, when I was public information officer, I did what he did, and I taught those classes and went on those field trips, and again, to reach out to those kids and make a positive impact on their life and teach these kids what we're doing and how we do community service every day. And hopefully some of those kids might one day want to put on a uniform, and those very children, one of those might be teaching Sheriff's Academy for Youth one day.
There you go. Absolutely. So impressionable. Let's move inside the jail a little bit now. We're talking about some things going on there. And I know that there's new ways of visiting inmates. Talk a little bit about that for us, if you don't mind.
Well,
Sheriff.
I'm going to just kind of hit the high spots, and then I'll turn it over to Stuart. But so far, we have had over 12,000 on-site visits since I took office. When I took office, the current visitation center was not up and running. It had been built. It was sitting in the parking lot idle. I contacted Securus, the company that provides that service for us, and I said, I want to get this up and running because I want to move visitation out of the jail.
That's right.
Out there to this off-site. I call it off-site. It's in the parking lot facility. Because the more people that come in that jail, the more contraband can find its way into the jail. We've seen a reduction in our contraband since we moved it out there. But more than that, Alton, it's convenient for the citizens. Before, you had a grandmother or grandfather come visit their grandchild. They had to come into the lobby of the jail, sign in, and if the visitation is already full, you got to sit there in a waiting room waiting for your turn. And then when your turn comes, you've got a long haul you've got to walk down. And someone on a cane or on a walker, that's a long way to have to walk to sit down and visit. As we get older, and I'm one of those people, as we get older, our hearing is not what it used to be. It was very noisy down there, and I've had grandparents say, I visited with my grandchild, I was not even able to hear what he told me. And so with the visitation center, you make an appointment, you drive up, you get out, you walk 10 or 15 steps, you're inside the facility. We're waiting on you because it's your appointment. There's no waiting. You walk in, you sit down, you pick up a phone, there's a computer screen, you're automatically connected to your loved one inside, be your son, daughter, husband, wife, grandchild, and you can actually sit there and hear what they've got to say and see them. So it's a win-win.
That's right.
Appointment, so there's no waiting. A very short walk, you can actually hear, and for us it keeps the contraband out of the jail, and it just better offers us a service that we can give to our citizens and help them visit with their loved ones in jail securely and more conveniently. Now, another thing that we're offering, and I want Stuart to speak on that, is if you live out of town and you want to visit with your loved one, your grandchild or whatever, and you live in Savannah and you don't want to drive 4 hours for a 30-minute visit and then 4 hours back home, if you have the right equipment, you can sit in your living room and visit with your grandchild in our jail for very few dollars. And I want Stuart to talk about that.
Yeah, and the link for this service is on our website. The Sheriff's Office website, and you go to it and there's a link, and there's a small fee to do it, and all the instructions are there. It tells you what equipment and computer stuff you have to get it going. And I think we've had over 500 do that. And like the sheriff said, it cuts down somebody traveling a long distance to be able to visit with their loved one in jail.
Absolutely. You know, anything that you can do, I think, because I've been down to the jail myself to visit individuals, and you know, like you said, Sheriff, you come in and you hear the clanging of the doors and you have to go down the hall, and then you go to little waiting areas and stuff. So to be able to now to just walk right into a secure location, never have to come in and
Never have to come into jail.
and it's so much more convenient. So, you know, and I've been asking and been saying, well, I want to come down there and do a show so we
Absolutely.
can kind of see this,
Right.
you know, firsthand. So I definitely want to reserve the right to continue to come,
Absolutely.
come down and do
Absolutely.
that. But, you know, it's just, we're so appreciative of all the things that you and Stuart are doing and all the other men and women in uniforms, you know, the Troup County Sheriff Department, of course, the LaGrange Police Department.
I'm glad that you mentioned the LaGrange Police Department, because one of the things that I ran on was rebuilding relationships with our local police departments and with the Georgia State Patrol. And I think that's demonstrated every day in the things that we do. We help them, they help us, and we have a tremendous relationship because, you know, at the end of the day, Alton, we are fighting the same crime.
That's right.
Here in Troup County. Crime doesn't stop at the city limits.
That's right.
And so we're committed to helping our local police departments and the Georgia State Patrol and DNR and the Marshal's Office, and they are committed to helping us, and I appreciate that relationship.
Well, we greatly appreciate all that the men and women in uniform do to make sure that our communities stay safe, because bottom line, it goes to the economic impact that this community can prosper for them.
Absolutely.
So thank both you, gentlemen, for being on the show today.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
All right. Ladies and gentlemen, stay tuned for more City Week in just a moment.
I'm Sergeant Stuart Smith with the Troup County Sheriff's Office, and we're asking for the public's help in locating a missing elderly person. His name is Leroy Hubbard. He's an 87-year-old black male and was last seen in his residence at 871 Shake Rag Road on May 21st around 10:30 p.m. It's believed that sometime between that time and 5:30 a.m. on Friday morning, Mr. Hubbard left his home walking. He may have been wearing a blue and red long-sleeve shirt, blue jeans, brown boots, and maybe wearing a beige hat. He also has a gray beard. Anyone with information on Mr. Hubbard's whereabouts is asked to call the Troup County Sheriff's Office at 883-1616 or Troup County 911 at 706-883-1700. Thank you.
Ladies and gentlemen, I want to thank you for joining us for City Week this week. My guests have been from the Troup County Sheriff Department. I had on Sheriff Jane Woodruff and also the Public Information Officer Stuart Smith, as they talked about some upcoming programs over the summer and also some fundraising events that they've already had through the Sheriff's Office. By all means, if you have questions or information for the Sheriff's Office, give them a call. I'm sure they'll be welcome to receive that information. Ladies and gentlemen, I hope that you've enjoyed these interviews, and as always, I want to invite you back for more of City Week.